I'm here with Toby, and we're going to talk today about looking after dad, men's health, because we're not very good at it. Oh, I think ladies are a lot more observant than gents, and I think gents tend to, I don't know whether we think we're invincible or whether we don't take our health seriously, but until something goes wrong, we don't tend to do anything.
No, I agree. I think we're a little bit less conscious about those kind of things. With all respect, I think ladies are always looking at the aesthetics and maybe taking care of themselves in certain ways, but us gents, we're a little bit more relaxed than others. And I'm a prime example of that, Steve.
So let's dive straight into your story then, Toby, because it's a happy ending, but a real rough year or so.
Yeah, a real rough time. I was one of the lucky guys that actually found that there was a problem. But as we were saying a minute ago, you have to check yourself on a regular basis to ensure that you're keeping in line with yourself. Because despite, I think just like you, I was a sportsman. I had a reasonably healthy diet. I didn't drink too much. I was living the life of a 30-year-old. I was just enjoying life. And then one day it all changed when I found a lump.
Yeah.
But where the problem occurs is that when men aren't checking themselves, they aren't looking for changes in their body. And again, it was just one day, I'll be honest, one day in the shower for me where I just found and noticed a change and immediately went to my doctor. I think the problems occurs when a man finds a problem or a lady finds a problem and then doesn't go and address it straight away.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the really important things that we need to discuss today is actually tracking those changes, whether it is a physical change, whether it is a slight pain or murmur, or whether it is just a change in in the feeling when you walk or something like that. Anything or any occurrence that happens in your body over the age of 20, you need to go and get it checked out.
So you were in the shower, washing yourself. You just noticed it was different, or you actually physical lump?
Yeah, physical lump. Noticed it was different through checking it, through feeling it, and went from there, really. I was literally, I'll be honest, I waited a day, went to go and see my GP the next day, and it went from there, really. Again, it's quite intimidating as well, going to see a doctor and getting your things out and saying, how am I doing, doctor, if you know what I mean, with all due respect. But it's the best decision I made, and that's why I can sit here cancer-free here today, almost a year later, because of those checks that I went through.
It's fine. I used to work. I was a trustee for Colon Cancer Concern, and I wrote a headline. I'm going back about 20 years now, but I wrote a headline: "Don't blush, look before you flush." Because again, when you get bleeding from the back passage, sometimes it can be completely innocent, but sometimes it can be very severe. So we really do have to look for, like I say, symptoms and changes. And whenever you speak to a really, really good doctor, and I go for an annual checkup, we spend most of the time in that. Let's say we have an hour and a half in total. The first hour is just questions before the physical medical about exactly what you said. Changes. Has your sleeping habit changed? How often do you go to the toilet in the middle of the night? Are your bowel movements regular? And it's looking for those changes. And quite often, because again, fear plays a big part of it. And fear, by the way, I believe is an acronym for false expectations appearing real. And here's the thing that many things, whether that be like you found a lump, whether that be bleeding from the back passage from the back passage, whether that be a change in bowel movements, they may be sinister, but those most likely aren't. So, but a lot of people think the worst straight away, and because they think the worst straight away, and they do a bit of Googling, and again, that always brings up the worst, because of that, people, not all gents, but some, I think gents probably go into two different camps. One camp would go, I'm so scared I'm not going to do anything, because I don't want to find the bad news. And the other camp goes, well, a bit more like me, paranoid, go and check everything. But the key thing is, there's for nearly all these things, there's as many non-sinister things as there are the bad. But the thing is, you just got to go and get checked.
No, for certain. And also, when I went to go and see my doctor initially, I was thinking the worst, and he said, no, the likeliness of this being cancerous is minimal. Actually, I think it could be actually more of an infection. It could be a number of things, and which again helped me and gave me the confidence, and I went away and had certain antibiotics. Unfortunately, it turned out to be cancer. Yeah. But irrespective of that, as you say, Steve, it's most of the time it's not going to be as severe as you think it's going to be. Yeah. And the worst thing you can do is Google it, because that's exactly what I did. And when you Google something like that, like an inflamed testicle, you can have anything. I was surprised I was still alive, to be honest, by the time I'd read what I'd read. So don't go and do that. Yeah. Get some professional advice.
I was presenting on TV a few years ago, and I still get them now, little lines in the nails. And the close-up came on when I was holding the jewellery. And that day I had about 3 emails from customers, one saying she was a nurse, one doctor, and they were going, I think you've got cancer, or I think you... And it scared the life out of me. So I did go to the doctors the next day, and again, it turns out to be... and I did the same, loads of Googling, and it's definitely cancer, and it turns out to be nothing. But the key thing is, go and speak to your GP if you get any changes, dads, husbands, brothers, because... At the end of the day, I've learned a lot working with GPs, and Dr. Dan, Dr. Shannon, Dr. David Unwin, Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, and they all say we like people coming into our surgery as early as possible. So don't wait. And doctors, they don't ever feel embarrassed about. First of all, don't ever feel embarrassed about taking up their time. For sure. They would rather do preventative work with your health than really severe. It's like the dentist that was on the other day with us, great guy, James, and he's a doctor as well, and he was saying, look, I would rather have loads and loads of kids come in and just give advice than I would doing fillings. Sure, so send me all your kids before I have to do fillings, and I'll talk to them about avoiding sugar, avoiding bread, which turns into sugar really quickly, avoiding fizzy pops. As a dentist, I'd rather do all that preventative than even do one filling. Of course. And the doctors are the same. I'd rather people come in with early signs, whether it be lumps in the testicles, bleeding in the back passage, big changes in bowel movements. I'd rather people come in really early. I hear this from all the GPs. Yeah. And even say to them, actually, it's nothing. Don't worry about it, because if doctors, and certainly the doctors I work with, if they would rather do one prevention than have to deal, with people that've got the illnesses.
No, certainly, and also, Steve, we live very busy lifestyles these days. People have to work. People are scared of us also taking days off work, and that's also why I took an extra day to go to the doctor. I had a busy day that day. I had to meetings, so on and so forth. Just don't wait. There's no sacrifice better that you can make than going and seeing the doctor. That is the key part. And like I said, I could still be sitting here today with cancer if I hadn't have gone and checked or noticed. So yes, it's just the little things in life. But most importantly, I think the best thing that you can do is just take care of your body with the little ways. Just make sure you're getting the right amount of sleep. Make sure you're trying to keep your body as stress-free as possible. This is what the doctors advised me. And make sure you're eating as healthy as you can. But most importantly, track the changes in your body. We all wash each other in the showers. Each other. We all wash. Not us. different moment that. But we all know our bodies. Most importantly, especially at the age of 30. And if you don't, then you need to know your body. To therefore track the changes to go and see a doctor.
Track the changes. And while we're on this, dads, let's talk about. A lot of people don't realise that strokes, Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer, obesity, heart disease can all be linked to a poor diet and stress. So they all are what we call these days in medical sort of area that we work, metabolic syndrome. They all relate to food. So the key things, if you want to get to 100 or be around for as long as you can, see your children grow up, and not just be around, because there's two things about, a great thing in Zoe Harcombe's book recently, she said, what it's about, it's about extending life, not extending death. In other words, what you really want to do is you want to get to 100, but you want to be fulfilled and be able to, you don't want to draw out that last 30 years just sitting, in a nursing home or be in a wheelchair or something. So we want to extend quality of life. That's what we're trying to do. Key things are nearly all of those that we talked about a moment ago, so cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, even Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, everything. And when I say diabetes, I mean type 2 and not type 1, because type 1 is a little bit different. But all of those are metabolically linked to the same syndrome, and it's about eating well, and in particular making sure you don't have to release too much insulin, and that means cutting down on carbs. So cut down on the pasta, the rice, the potatoes, and also try and get back to eating real foods, because we're, as a nation, how about this, dads, right? We on average are not looking at this young man, he looks absolutely fantastic, but on average, an adult in the UK is 2.5 stone heavier today than they were at the year I was born in 66.
Wow.
And in that same period, that sort of 50 plus year period, we've tripled our consumption of sugar. So there's a direct link to sugar. Now, you might go, well, I don't eat sugar, but if you eat lots of packaged foods, it's been shoved and stuffed and put in anywhere. And the biggest problem you have, even if you look on the packaging on the back, there are about 50 different words to say the same thing, sugar. And therefore, you don't even realise you're eating it. But the big food manufacturers put it in absolutely everything they can in all the packaged food, because sugar's addictive, it's cheap, it makes the food taste great. Because don't forget, they're taking most of the goodness out. Of
course.
So to make it taste good, and there's loads of chemicals in there, so to hide the chemicals, they put more sugar. And it's really, really dangerous. So the key thing is try and eat real foods, natural foods, foods that are grown, or whether it be animals grown or foods that are, foods that don't need labels. So eat well. I always try and look for a reason for cancer. So sadly, 2 months ago, Carl, who's a piano teacher for my children, he passed away, aged 34, pancreas cancer. Horrible time for him. Last couple of months, terrible. But I'm always looking for a reason. But Carl was a bit overweight and did eat a lot of the wrong foods, and that's not. He's a lovely, lovely man. It wasn't his fault. He just nobody ever taught him about eating well. And I kept thinking, how did you get cancer? And I just think, you're so busy. You've always looked athletic. You've always eaten well. I can only think it was stress maybe with you.
Yes, I asked the doctor the same thing. When I was having an ultrasound, I asked him, doctor, what are the chances? Where would you attribute this from? Whether it be my diet, which is healthy, okay, I've smoked a bit in the past, everyone's been 18, I drunk a bit of alcohol, well, of course we do, and he said exactly that. He said, most likely, Toby, it's going to be down to diet or stress. Do you work many hours? Yes, I work 70-hour weeks. Well, unfortunately, when you're pushing your body those kind of limits, you can't handle, the resources get used up. But he also mentioned to be aware of things like mobile phones in our pockets, sleeping with mobile phones next to your head, the little details of those, these energy drinks that people are drinking with taurine and these chemicals we've never heard of before until the year 2000, and little details like that. So I think just little easy changes in your life. I mean, for the first thing when I was diagnosed with cancer, it seemed stupid, but I don't have sugar in my tea anymore. That's cut out. I love sugar in tea, but one small step that I can do, doing a good amount of exercise, making sure I eat at least 1 or 2 green foods a day. But yeah, for sure, I think stress is a big attributor to cancer.
And I think it has to be, I think, a collection of different things all coming together. Just like you said then, so first of all, if we go back, just talk about cancer and your own experience, if you go back 100 years ago, it was like 1 in 30 people, 1 in 40 people. In fact, even if you go back to caveman days, I've looked at fossils, and occasionally they come across somebody that obviously had a tumour or cancer, even back millions of years ago. But the only thing we can think that would be is they were eating a lot of burnt food, a lot of burnt meat, because again, carcinogenics. But today, we now have a situation where the people alive in Great Britain today, the statistics say 1 in 2 will be diagnosed with cancer at some stage. Now, we're getting better at treating it. Thank goodness we are. Otherwise, you might not be with us today. So we're getting better at treating it. But 1 in 2, that's a horribly statistic. And it has to be, like say, a combination of all those things. So brain cancer, for example, that it'll never be proven because nobody will sponsor the research because the phone companies won't. But there's a definite link between an increase in brain cancer, we believe, and mobile phone use. And you had all this. So I say it's about 3 things. It's about environment, lifestyle. So in environment, you think about the creams that we put on, chemicals all in our creams, fumes if we in traffics a lot. So if we've got all things going on with toxins there, then that's an environment. Then our lifestyle, are we getting enough sleep? Are we stressing too much? Are we getting enough sunshine? Are we getting the right exercise? And then diet. And it's probably this combination of all. I think, and I'm very conscious of that now, turn that tipping point at 50. And I'm very conscious now of everything from trying to avoid the chemicals. My toothpaste has no chemicals in it now. My hair products don't. That's why my wife says I swallow a little bit, because I don't use any antiperspirants underneath, because you just got to do everything you can. And all these little things, and once you start doing it, they just become a habit anyway.
Certainly.
Before you go, talk to me, because I know off the back of your cancer, your sister with her diabetes type 1 and epilepsy, you founded a great company. You started using CBD oils yourself, became so sure that CBD oil was having benefits that you created your own brand, your own business. Talk to me quickly about CBD, and particularly talking about men's health here. Who's CBD for? It's the hottest sort of health product at the moment. Who's it for? Who should take it?
Sure.
What's the link between that and good health?
Okay, well, who should take it? I think everybody should be taking CBD on a daily basis for wellness, due to the amount of ailments which it's shown to help, and due to the way in which it can help your body and help receptors in your body actually continue to run very efficiently and not be hyperactive or be kind of less active than they should be. I think everybody should be taking CBD. Now, from a sickness point of view, from someone who maybe is being diagnosed with cancer, or someone that is maybe anxious about some ailment that they may have, CBD is a fantastic I'm not going to say cure, but a fantastic aid for something like this, because of how it controls the receptors in your body that cause you to be or have anxiety, or stress, or overthink things. So, I mean, for anyone out there that is not very well at the moment, that is looking for something to help with pain relief, with stress relief, with a number of ailments, CBD can help you. Please go and do your research, go and look out there. I'm sure CBD can help you in some way or another. So people that are looking for general wellness, for people that are overstressed at work, that aren't sleeping very well, as you know, Steve, they tie in very well. When you're overstressed, you go to bed, you're still thinking about the Excel sheet that you had on 2 hours ago, therefore you become anxious, you don't sleep, it's 4 a.m, and you get up and then you have a cheap meal in the morning because you've got no time to go to work, and it all happens. It combats with all of those. So for me, a big factor was I was sleeping 3 more hours a night, which makes a huge change to your lifestyle on a daily basis. And my appetite was better, my digestive system was better, and this was all in line with taking it for chemotherapy. These are all the benefits in which I gained from taking it for chemotherapy. Because from a nausea point of view, from an anti-sickness point of view, I've never tried anything as good as CBD. It was far better than what I was prescribed from the hospital in tablet form, which I of course couldn't keep down. And the best thing about CBD is it's instant. It's straight into the bloodstream. Straight in the bloodstream,
and it's natural. That's what people have to understand, is that we're overprescribed as a nation with so many tablets. In fact, I must, while we're just, I know this is going a bit longer than we thought, but also read books like Doctrine Data, Statin Nations, because also we're here saying, gents, take your health seriously. But also, when you go to the doctors and he might prescribe something, do your own research about whether that is the right thing to be taking, because we're overprescribed as a nation. And I recently uncovered the fact that people that are taking statins, it needs 300 people taking a statin before one person gets a benefit. It's called an NNT, numbers needed to treat. Whereas if you went to the doctors and he said, you've got high cholesterol, take a statin, you'd think, well, it must work then. It must be 1-to-1, it must work for everybody. It takes 300 people taking a statin to get one positive outcome. And actually, if you look at all mortality, not just heart disease, it has, people taking a statin have a lower life expectancy than those who don't. So there's no proof that statins work at all. So go and get checked by your GP to make sure we find things like cancer and so on and so forth. But then if you get prescribed any long-term medicine, please go and do a load of research about whether the benefits outweigh the negatives. My dad, for example, is on 11 tablets a day, doesn't even know what half of them are. So anyway, there's a bit more advice. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for advice. Oh, one more advice on CBD. Check the percentage, because I'm seeing some TV adverts at the moment that are so cheap, and then I go and research it, and they're like 2% of the oil in there is CBD.
I've just done a blog on your website about this, Steve. Yes, and if you go and look at the blog on Primal Cure, you're going to see a great article on percentages, on all the numbers you see on CBD bottles, which makes it all 100% clear, and to ensure that you are getting the right strength and not being ripped off by, again, companies that are saying that they're giving you a set percentage when they're not.
Yeah, great. Check out our blog, check us online. Thank you for being with us on this important week for men's health. Everybody's health is important, whether it be your children or your parents, and it all starts with really thinking about. And by the way, you know, so this goes
Let's
on.
Keep
and
going.
on.
Let's keep going.
You know, I said to somebody the other day, the crazy thing is that throughout history of human history, and every species, the most important thing is an instinct for survival. I think we've just lost it. I think because life is so comfortable for many, many people these days that we forget. When everything was a fight and everything was a battle, and we had to find our food and hunt our food, and there were things hunting us. Survival was all about how long can you live, how long can you survive. We've just lost that basic instinct of just living healthy and happy for longer. Anyway, got to bring it to an end. Thank you for watching. Check us out on all social media, Primal Cure and healthdaddy.com.